Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Divide into parts, pieces, or sections. The Arab Peninsula was partitioned by the British. The act of dividing or partitioning. Separation by the creation of a boundary that divides or keeps apart. Separate or apportion into sections. Partition a room off. A vertical structure that divides or separates, as a wall divides one room from another. Anatomy. A structure that separates areas in an organism. Computer science. The part of a hard disk that is dedicated to a particular operating system or application and accessed as a single unit. Divide into parts, pieces, or sections. A group of ships of similar type. One of the portions into which something is regarded as divided and which together constitute a whole. The BBC's engineering division. The act of dividing or partitioning. Separation by the creation of a boundary that divides or keeps apart. Discord that splits a group. A league ranked by quality. A unit of the United States Air Force usually comprising 2 or more wings. An administrative unit in government or business. An arithmetic operation that is the inverse of multiplication. The quotient of 2 numbers is computed. An army unit large enough to sustain combat. 2 infantry divisions were held in reserve. Biology. A group of organisms forming a subdivision of a larger category. Botany. Taxonomic unit of plants corresponding to a phylum. The act or process of dividing. An analysis into mutually exclusive categories. The act of dividing or partitioning. Separation by the creation of a boundary that divides or keeps apart. The act of dividing or partitioning. Separation by the creation of a boundary that divides or keeps apart. The act of dividing or partitioning. Separation by the creation of a boundary that divides or keeps apart. Embryology. The repeated division of a fertilized ovum. The act of dividing or partitioning. Separation by the creation of a boundary that divides or keeps apart. Regulate housing in. Of certain areas of towns. Any of the regions of the surface of the Earth loosely divided according to latitude or longitude. Separate or apportion into sections. Anatomy. Any encircling or belt-like structure. A locally circumscribed place characterized by some distinctive features. An area or region distinguished from adjacent parts by a distinctive feature or characteristic. A taxonomist who classifies organisms into many groups on the basis of relatively minor characteristics. A vertical structure that divides or separates, as a wall divides one room from another. A drafting instrument resembling a compass that is used for dividing lines into equal segments or for transferring measurements. A person who separates something into parts or groups. Perform a division. Can you divide 49 by 7? Act as a barrier between. Stand between. The mountain range divides the 2 countries. Separate into parts or portions. Divide the cake into 3 equal parts. Force, take, or pull apart. A ridge of land that separates 2 adjacent river systems. Make a division or separation. Come apart. A serious disagreement between two groups of people, typically producing tension or hostility. Treat differently on the basis of sex or race. Act as a barrier between. Stand between. Have the connection undone, having become separate. Arrange or order by classes or categories. Become separated into pieces or fragments. Separate into parts or portions. Discontinue an association or relation. Go different ways. The couple separated after 25 years of marriage. Force, take, or pull apart. He separated the fighting children. Divide into two or more branches so as to form a fork. Make a division or separation. Go one's own way. Move apart. The friends separated after the party. Standing apart. Not attached to or supported by anything. A house with a separate garage. Mark as different. Come apart. The two pieces that we had glued separated. A separately printed article that originally appeared in a larger publication. A garment that can be purchased separately and worn in combinations with other garments. Divide into components or constituents. Independent, not united or joint. A problem consisting of two separate issues. Separated according to race, sex, class, or religion. Separate but equal. The effort contributed by a person in bringing about a result. The actions and activities assigned to or required or expected of a person or group. The government must do its part. To some extent, in some degree, not wholly. I felt partly to blame. Assets belonging to or due to or contributed by an individual person or group. A portion of a natural object. They analyzed the river into 3 parts. Something less than the whole of a human artifact. The rear part of the house. One of the portions into which something is regarded as divided and which together constitute a whole. The written part of the exam. Discontinue an association or relation. Go different ways. The business partners broke over a tax question. The melody carried by a particular voice or instrument in polyphonic music. He tried to sing the tenor part. Force, take, or pull apart. Moses parted the Red Sea. An item that is an instance of some type. My dog swallowed a Lego part. A line of scalp that can be seen when sections of hair are combed in opposite directions. His part was right in the middle. Leave. The extended spatial location of something. Religions in all parts of the world. Go one's own way. Move apart. The friends separated after the party. Something determined in relation to something that includes it. He wanted to feel a part of something bigger than himself. An actor's portrayal of someone in a play. She played the part of Desdemona. Come apart. That which concerns a person with regard to a particular role or situation. It requires vigilance on our part. Law, the cessation of cohabitation of man and wife, either by mutual agreement or under a court order. Coming apart. The distance between things. Fragile items require separation and cushioning. Sorting one thing from others. The separation of wheat from chaff. The act of dividing or disconnecting. The social act of separating or parting company. The separation of church and state. The space where a division or parting occurs. He hid in the separation between walls. The state of lacking unity. The termination of employment, by resignation or dismissal. The people in a society considered as a system organized by a characteristic pattern of relationships. Sociologists have studied the changing structure of the family. A particular complex anatomical part of a living thing and its construction and arrangement. He has good bone structure. A thing constructed, a complex entity constructed of many parts. The structure consisted of a series of arches. Give a structure to. I need to structure my days. The complex composition of knowledge as elements and their combinations. His lectures have no structure. The manner of construction of something and the arrangement of its parts. Artists must study the structure of the human body. The commercial activity involved in repairing old structures or constructing new ones. Their main business is home construction. The act of constructing something. During the construction we had to take a detour. An interpretation of a text or action. They put an unsympathetic construction on his conduct. The creation of a construct. The process of combining ideas into a congruous object of thought. A group of words that form a constituent of a sentence and are considered as a single unit. I concluded from his awkward constructions that he was a foreigner. A thing constructed. A complex entity constructed of many parts. She wore her hair in an amazing construction of whorls and ribbons. Drawing a figure satisfying certain conditions as part of solving a problem or proving a theorem. The assignment was to make a construction that could be used in proving the Pythagorean theorem. Any part of an organism such as an organ or extremity. A unit for measuring computer memory. Partition off into compartments. Move heavily or clumsily. Partition off into compartments. The locks pound the water of the canal. Hit hard with the hand, fist, or some heavy instrument. The salesman pounded the door knocker. The basic unit of money in Cyprus, equal to 100 cents. Move rhythmically. A symbol for a unit of currency, especially for the pound sterling in Great Britain. The act of pounding, delivering repeated heavy blows. The pounding of feet on the hallway. A public enclosure for stray or unlicensed dogs. Unlicensed dogs will be taken to the pound. The basic unit of money in Syria, equal to 100 piastres. A non-technical unit of force equal to the mass of 1 pound with an acceleration of free fall equal to 32 feet, sec. The basic unit of money in Great Britain and Northern Ireland, equal to 100 pence. Formerly the basic unit of money in Ireland, equal to 100 pence. 16 ounces avoirdupois. He got a hernia when he tried to lift 100 pounds. The basic unit of money in Lebanon, equal to 100 piastres. The basic unit of money in the Sudan, equal to 100 piastres. shut up or confine in any enclosure or within any bounds or limits. The prisoners are safely pounded. Place or shut up in a pound. Pound the cows so they don't stray. The basic unit of money in Egypt, equal to 100 piastres. Strike or drive against with a heavy impact. Pound on the door. United States writer who lived in Europe. Strongly influenced the development of modern literature, 1885 to 1972. A unit of apothecary weight equal to 12 ounces troy. Break down and crush by beating, as with a pestle. Pound the roots with a heavy flat stone. Dividing an area into zones or sections reserved for different purposes such as residence and business and manufacturing, etc. A self-contained part of a larger composition, written or musical. A section of a section. A part of a part, i.e., a part of something already divided. A division of some larger or more complex organization. An area composed of subdivided lots. The act of subdividing. Division of something previously divided. The division or partitioning of a cavity into parts by a septum. Partition by means of a divider, such as a screen. Partition by means of a divider, such as a screen. Screen off this part of the room. A partition that divides a ship or plane into compartments. An embankment built around a space for defensive purposes. They blew the trumpet and the walls came tumbling down. Anatomy. A layer, a lining or membrane, that encloses a structure. Stomach walls. Surround with a wall in order to fortify. A difficult or awkward situation. His back was to the wall. A layer of material that encloses space. The walls of the cylinder were perforated. A masonry fence, as around an estate or garden. The wall followed the road. An architectural partition with a height and length greater than its thickness, used to divide or enclose an area or to support another structure. The south wall had a small window. Anything that suggests a wall in structure or function or effect. A wall of water. A vertical, or almost vertical, smooth rock face, as of a cave or mountain. A partition, often temporary, of planks or cloth that is used to control ventilation in a mine. Supply with apparatus, to ventilate mines. Protect, hide, or conceal from danger or harm. Test or examine for the presence of disease or infection. Screen the blood for the HIV virus. A strainer for separating lumps from powdered material or grating particles. A covering that serves to conceal or shelter something. A screen of trees afforded privacy. The personnel of the film industry. A star of stage and screen. Separate with a riddle, as grain from chaff. Examine in order to test suitability. Screen these samples. A white or silvered surface where pictures can be projected for viewing. Prevent from entering. The display that is electronically created on the surface of the large end of a cathode ray tube. A protective covering that keeps things out or hinders sight. A protective covering consisting of netting, can be mounted in a frame. They put screens in the windows for protection against insects. Examine methodically. Screen the suitcases. Partition consisting of a decorative frame or panel that serves to divide a space. Project onto a screen for viewing. Screen a film. Anatomy. A dividing partition between two tissues or cavities. A partition or wall, especially in an ovary. The branch of morphology that deals with the structure of animals. The branch of morphology that deals with the structure of animals. Alternative names for the body of a human being. A detailed analysis. He studied the anatomy of crimes.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.